Alright guys, welcome back to another Mask Momentum video today. I'm going to go over the third Worlds quarterfinals here. We're going to look at Easton Douglas versus Daniele. I don't know how to say that in a sleeve, I'm sorry. Playing 5 versus Dash, honestly. And this Dash, specifically from Easton, was a more fatigue-oriented Dash deck. Has a lot of the not really trying to boost at all, and is just trying to do more of a fatigue, like kind of grind you out version. So let's get into like these deck lists real quick. Like as I said earlier, the Dash obviously is trying to be a more fatigue version of what Easton brought than what Matt W brought, which was more the boost trying to aggro and kill you every single game. Easton's really trying to get the max amount of value out of that plasma the pistol plus the induction chambers, and basically get through a lot of your power cards before you can turn the corner as well. So playing like the normal equipment, he is playing Tunic instead of the regular Mechanologist chest, because Tunic is going to allow you to have those extra resources, swing pistol like every 3 turns. You're going to get a lot more value with Tunic than you are. You're never boosting. You never want to, exile cards to the top. You don't have a lot of Mechanologist cards. You're playing a lot of generics and stuff like that. So Tunic is going to be a little bit better. But then you're getting to play these Teklo-based arms, Teklo-based legs. Then you're going to go. That's going to pair with the Evo, the blue Evos here, which is really really cool to see from Bright Lights that the other Mechanologists will also be able to use these Evos like Teklo, but just in a different way. And then Model I as well. So now we're looking at this main deck. As you see, a lot of generics, a lot of defensive cards, playing those Command and Conquers, all these poppers for, permanently Joromai, but also in the game. Something that was really interesting that after looking at this deck a couple times, you can see these Terminator tanks and War Machines, and you have 2 Evos, so when you have 2 Evos, they cost 3 less to play. So this one hits, they discard, and it costs 3 less to play. So you're playing like a 3 for 6 with the on hit as well, which is pretty interesting. Just a lot of like attacks that do like basically the same thing to all of them. Getting to play Heart of Fandle. Only one Teklo core in this matchup because you want to be in a lot of matchups because you want to be blocking. Obviously playing Remembrance, playing 3-2 on the pistol line, and then has Oasis, Sigils, Fade Sinks, Immovables, everything like that. Just a super defensive version of Dash, just trying to fatigue everybody out, get the max amount of value that you can per game. Something that fatigue decks are really bad against traditionally is Fi. Fi is extremely hard to fatigue, has so many different avenues of play. I've played a lot of Fi in my day when you battle harden with it, and this is a pretty interesting deck list, especially going into the World Championship. I did not think Fi was in a very well positioned for the format, and he actually had 2 in the top 8, which is very interesting to me because besides sniping Joromai specifically in this tournament, that matchup even got a lot closer with the new tome as well. So it was like, Fi doesn't look like in a good position. Like he's losing a lot of these aggro races to these other decks, and Ice Center's always been a tricky matchup for him. And just post Belittle Fi has seemed very underpowered and very just consistent, but you just lose a lot of games that you shouldn't be losing. And I was really excited when I saw 2 in the top 8 as well. We're looking at the normal stuff with the Flamescale Furnace, Shugo. He has snaps, Tide Flippers as well. He's playing double, so it's pretty interesting. He's playing double mask, 2 Kadachis and Simmer Emberblade. It's a lot of equipment slots in this area. It's a full 10. A lot of the time you're not really seeing Kadachis and Emberblade, but this was a tech that I saw a lot of people play at this World Championship, especially for Joromai. A lot of people were preferring to play Kodachi against Joromai instead of the Emberblade. And going into this matchup, I did think that Fi was going to play Kodachis versus Easton, which he actually didn't. He played Emberblade, which is really interesting, to where Kodachis are a lot harder to fatigue as well, because you have, with Fi, you get the double Kodachi setup, and then if you have the Phoenix as well, and then you have 3 ping you for ones, and you can't really fatigue that at all, right? Because you can't block these Kodachis, so you're on a like basically 20 turn clock. Anytime that the Phoenix comes in as well for one and you don't block it, like that clock gets even faster and faster. Like I really thought that like Kodachi was going to come in, but he did play Emberblade. But Emberblade does take a card every single time you swing it, which is very good to against fatigue matchups. Something that was pretty interesting in that I didn't foretold going into this was that when this got printed in that like UPF set, the Bittering Thorns red, we had Bittering Thorns yellow for a very long time, but the red one is, you know, just a 1/4, and if it hits, it gets +1. But it's basically copy 4 through 6 of this Mounting Anger, and something that you used to have to play is the 1/4 that if it hits gives go again to that Draconic one that gives go again, which you can't really use too much in 5 because everything pretty much has natural go again. So just having more of your, you know, basically turning them into 1/5s with Bittering Thorns and Mounting Anger does not have Draconic, so it's just a ninja, so depends on what they're. And this version is only playing 5 of the brand with Cinderclaw. He's interested in playing Bleed Out as well, obviously a nod to playing Kodachis over Emberblade in certain matchups. Is playing the Sensors, you know, has Reinforce a line, is only playing 1 Phoenix Flame in his entire list, so he's not really, he's not playing the old 1/3 that like searches out a Phoenix Flame, or not too big into the Searing Flames combo anymore, as these lists has become more generic heavy and more, you know, tech heavy as well. And, you know, has 1 energy potion, you know, 1 blade, obviously the 2 salts, and 3 art wars to round out like the main board. And yeah, it's just basically a generic fire list, but he's having more of a nod to the Kodachis. Has Ancestral Empowerment. I know a lot of people hate this card in Fi, and more people are starting to come around towards it. Personally not a fan, but was used to great success in this World Championship as well. So let's get into this game here. We're looking at it. Traditionally, this is one of those times to where you have to see what they are really bringing out. Obviously, Fi is going with a more of a Tunic and the Lynx setup here, and he's going with Emberblade, which is pretty interesting because you would think Kodachi would come in versus, you know, the more heavy fatigue if you have them. It's a nod to where you know deck list, so he's going to be playing that Tunic because you know the game is going super long, and then the Lynx, if you can have, you know, Auto War and like Lynx combo turns, it's gonna be really good because Mask Momentum, you're not going to hit 3 times in a chain because Easton was going to try to block a decent amount as well. So let's see how this game starts. I believe Easton is going first, if I remember correctly, when I was watching it in between playing games of the Battle Hardened. Or we skip to when they're playing. Okay. Alright, Easton's gonna start off. He's pitching. Just load the chamber, load the pistol. You don't want to. Obviously, you don't want you're not going to attack Fi and allow him to filter his hand on turn 0 normally. So he's just also has a Spark of Genius early, which is really, really good. I expected him to board out basically every single item, like the 2-cost items, because you just don't have time to play it, and you're just going to take too much damage to play in this matchup. But he did leave the 1 blue Techlocore in which he grabs right now, which is pretty interesting. It is a blue pitch, but it also doesn't block. But something that Techlocore does is it gives you enough resources to be able to battle through, like, you're not block pretty heavily against Fi as Easton, because he's playing that more fatigue version. But these Techlocores allows you to keep swinging that pistol, so you can start trading damage early, and then maybe like get into the game later. But this is probably the worst matchup for Easton in this top 8 that he saw, and I know he was not thrilled going into this top 8 from hearing from other people as well. But let's see how it goes here. So it does have a really good start with this Techlocore, Spark of Genius for that Techlocore. Get the no block out of your deck, and then he's going to be able to arsenal this last card and go through. Innately, Fi does not filter his hand at the end to like pick up this Phoenix Flame sometimes as well. That if you have quad red in your hand is 5, but there's a lot of like 1 costs. Sometimes in turn 0, you would pick up your Phoenix Flame if your opponent is just passing. So well, we do see a different start here. We're seeing this a brand with Cinderclaw. It's gonna be the blue one, so it's just gonna come in for 1. I expect this to Easton just to take 1 here. It is a 1 enabler, so this Shuko will be turned on this turn because he can, if he is able to come in with that String Ember Blade, and then he can do that the flame, and it's always good. Something as well is that he has that brand into the thorns, but it's going to give it the draconic as well, which is quite nice here. His overall game plan this game is to just have so many attacks throughout the chain that it just makes it incredibly hard for Easton to basically do anything, like basically do anything. He's gonna hope that Easton is just full blocking the entire time, and he's just gonna use pistol over and over again to buy him enough time, and then have these huge Art of War turns and try to present like 30+ damage to get to basically eventually kill Easton on those turns, right? The Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is basically 5 to 6 damage just like on the board, and that Easton will have to take, or that 5 will present. So that is something that Easton has to play around this entire game, is that Lynx, and to be able to block correctly. But this Bettering Thrones being one of those pesky, breakpoints here with an on-hit, sometimes it is better to, unfortunate, but you have to double block it sometimes. But looks like he's looking at just a 1-card block here, doesn't have a defense reaction. So there's no block 3, take 1 here. Then coming in with the Emperor Blade for 4 as well, another breakpoint, and then you can come and finish with that Phoenix Flame as well at the end of this turn. Is it coming for 2? So as Easton's deck does a lot of the time, he's gonna block, take 1, 2, 3 this turn, and block 1 more time. He should 37, not 35, because he blocked the flame. And this opponent is just gonna play Diplomacy here. I did not have a, that good of a hand here. This is the unfortunate part, because Fi does want to, have 5 card hands in this matchup specifically, because you don't want to play 4-card hands like over and over and over again versus a fatigue deck is Fi. You want to be able to set up those big 5-card hands, and then squeak in your 3-4 points of damage on this time and do a whole bunch of other stuff. It is pretty interesting. Obviously he plays the Diplomacy here, but his hand was pretty weak here, so let's see if he can bounce back. Easton coming for 2 here. I basically expect Fi to never block in this matchup unless he's going to die. So yeah. I think there's a little confusion about tokens and stuff on top and discussion a lot. A lot of Dash people use like custom tokens and like different like beads and stuff like that to represent like board state and other stuff, but sometimes it can get a little confusing. So he's coming with Throttle as well, so picked War, obviously, that attack reaction for the in-chamber, so was able to give that pistol go again after shooting it, and then coming in with that 6, so he's looking at 8 points of value. Also, there's a Fate Foreseen in his hand, so he's going to be able to arsenal that, stop a breakpoint for the following turn. So a really good start from Easton specifically as well. This is the kind of turns that you need to have as Fatigue Dash to be able to basically overpower what this Fi is going to be doing, right? Fi is trying to come in for like 14 damage a turn and not block anything. So you have to be able to, how to beat Fi is basically just have it be better than 13, 14 points of value that they're going to get every single turn. So Easton was able to block for 9 and then come in for 8, so it's 17 points. Had a lot more value than the Fi had the last turn, and he needs to be able to do that basically every single turn of this game to be able to, you know, to get it through, right? Comes in for 4. Easton's trying to take 1 on this one. This on hit doesn't really matter as much, but this is the one thing that he can get punished on if he does hit a snatch specifically. But Fi isn't going to run any punts besides Art of War, and you want to use Art of War at the beginning of the chain, like that would be in response to Easton taking damage on this first attack and not trying to pump this snatch to draw the 1 extra card here. So he's just going to come in for 4 with go again because of that first attack here. But we both know Easton has this defensive reaction that he's going to use, that beautiful paper scene art. Alternate art. He's put at the bottom, block for 4 perfectly. Gets to swing with his Emberly for 3. It should be for 3, not for 2 here. Yeah, okay. So blocks with the Warmongers. Warmongers doesn't really do anything, it's Fi. The ninjas, like, get to play Warmongers basically for free because this is 0 cost. Blue plus your entire deck just naturally does not care about Warmongers as well. So ninjas are always going to be a great class to be able to play Warmongers and not be affected by it, which is quite nice for them. Warmongers, such a powerful card, probably the best generic that we've seen get printed in a very long time. I still think the best generic ever printed is going to be that E-Strike. Just like the flexibility of that card is insane. It's played in so many aggro decks, mid-range decks, control decks, like random ass combo decks as well. Like, it's one of those things. Easton gets the 2 things. He has multiple cards in his hand as well. He didn't full block entirely. Got the 2 resources from the Technical, which is to be that second one. Now doesn't have the no blocks on in his deck. He's already used the value, gotten the 4 resources off of it. Fi is trying to set up this 5-card hand, so he basically has. He basically do anything on this turn, right? Like the weakest point would if he would. Oh, and an E-Strike, as we were talking about it earlier. And due to the 5 withdrawal card here as well, which is quite strong. You can basically almost arsenal every. You can arsenal almost every single card in this deck. Like a lot of the blues and like you don't really want to arsenal, and like a lot of the attacks you're not going to be able to play, but sometimes you're going to be able to, you know, have resources left over and you just get to play it from the arsenal, and he decides to arsenal this card, so maybe it is something decently playable as well. Yeah, so it just comes in with 7 points of value. Was able to block it a lot, have an arsenal card for this turn, and let's see what this Fi can do specifically. He's down 11 life, which is not that good. You have to basically not block as Fi to be able to beat these control decks, which he's done the entire time, but we're a couple turns in now. He's only done, you know, very minimal damage to this dash, and is basically losing this race pretty heavily at this point. This turn is the turn to where Fi has to take over, right? He has to be able to take all of these 4 cards from Easton's hand. He's going to take all 4 cards from Easton's hand and be on the tempo for the rest of this game to be able to come back and really put the pressure on him, right? Does start with the Spreading Flames, which is quite good. This is what you need to see for these be huge turns, right? Either Spreading Flames, Art of War type of ordeal. And let's see what else we have here. A lot of things that you should do versus Fi is basically if you're trying to maybe not fully block them out, but you're trying to like play decent mid range against Fi, you non-block the first attack like pretty much every single time, because if he does have an on hit or you want to stop links, you have to block the very end of the chain and not the very beginning, because Fi just goes so wide, right? Every time you hit link, you get the links trigger, and a lot of the time, unless your opponent just literally has it in hand, they're not going to break links at the first time because they don't want that 5-6 damage to be wasted, basically. This is also a really good follow-up to a Spreading Flames turn. You're basically never going to have enough chain links for Blaze Headlong to get the additional +1, and because it is a 4, and then this is going to allow you to even have chain link 3, which is going to be the third Draconic, so anything I believe less from that Spreading Flames is going to be really good. So just using, he has 2 more cards in his hand after using one to pitch and play this Blaze Headlong as well. So, and you saw this Phoenix Flame. You have Tunic on 3 as well, so you can do you can get back this Phoenix Flame if you don't have anything that's decently low, and then be able to have that Phoenix Flame come in for 2 because of the Spreading Flames, and then coming with Ember Blade, and then Ember Blade will get it to 4. Is he? So he's thinking about this Link's trigger. I don't know if he's activating it or not. Your opponent has 3 cards left in his hand, and this is a Spreading Flames turn. It's not going to be an Auto Ward plus the Spreading Flames, which would be the most ideal thing for Fi on this turn. Let's break down and think if breaking links on this turn is really good, right? Easton has 3 cards. Obviously, he used E-Strike to draw a card and basically blind flipped into his arsenal. So it's unlucky if he's playing in a defensive reaction, but it probably does not matter too much. He has 3 cards left in his hand, so if you pop links here, you really want to get Salt with links, and you don't really want to get Lava Burst unless you already have Salt in hand. But double Salt plays are really, really good. But that's the awkwardness of Spreading Flames, because Salt isn't going to get plussed by Spreading Flames, but he has hit twice this turn. So it was a decent consideration, because Salt would have come in for 4, plus he's 5 with Shuko, but does do the play to where you just want to activate 5, go to 1 resource, has that extra resource with Tunic to give you 2 for the Ember Blade, but he's going to come in for 2. Easton does have That's All You Got, which is very, very good. 5 doesn't break the chain, so he's not going to be able to draw on this turn specifically, but going up to his next turn, be able to use his pistol to come in and attack as well. Quite good. The value, you just see the value of Easton's deck come in basically in all cylinders, and Fi has to have these huge turns. This is a great turn right now, right? We've already presented 13. He still has 2 cards in his hand, so he's having more of that original breakpoint of that 13-14 value from his hand. But Easton is coming up. He's taking the 4 on this one. You saw that your opponent wanted to break Mask, so now this one is especially something that you want to block if you can, because Rising Resentment is coming in at this late in the chain. He could have another 1 cost that doesn't have enough resources to play multiple 1 costs, swing the Ember Blade in the same turn, and use his hero ability for costed 1 and not for free, right? So Rising Resentment could be a little bluff, could not matter as much, because it is just going to make it cost less to play. He could just have another 0, a finisher in his hand, so that's why he doesn't want to pop Mask the links earlier. But now, we've hit 1, 2, 3 times on this chain. Let's see if Easton is going to give up his arm equity here. Okay, so he's blocking with 2 arms on this play as well, so you're pretty much not going to play this Evo. You want to go first. Easton did get to go first. If you get to high roll and get to play an Evo on turn 0, blocking becomes infinitely better. But it is pretty hard to play the Evos after that turn 0. And does have, one of those finishers, that Lava Burst coming in for 7 here. This is quite a good turn for the 5, coming in for, 15, 17, 21, 24 points of damage here, right? This is the turns that you need to have to lessen this life total, bring it back here. And this is why Fi is so good versus these other, control fatigue decks, right? he's presenting 24 damage. If you wanted to, you could pop the Snapdragon Scalers and then get links as well. So if we think about like Being Math is pretty easy. Another Lava Burst would be 6, so let's see if Salt, if you do the math, if Salt would be more than 6 off a Lava Burst with the mask, right? So, you know, Spreading Flames hit, Blaze hit, the Ember Blade hit, which is 3. Surely this Lava Burst hits also, this is going to be 4. Salt would come in for 6, which is basically the same as Lava Burst for 6 as well because of the Spreading Flames. So, you know, plus 6 on this chain if he wants it with links, which is, you know, 5-6 is usually average, but sometimes with Art of War, if you're just coming in with like infinite attacks, you can get like, I mean, I've had Salt for 14 before, right? Like, just, you know, double strikes and, you know, the flames, Art of Wars, just making everything hit. Like, your opponent blocks for 3 on every 4 on your chain, you just come in with an insane amount with Salts. Like, it is quite good, you know, having multiple. But he is not using, you know, Snapdragon Scalers or Mask here, so he's decided that 6 point of value is not worth here. You know, Easton does bring, you know, has 2 cards in his hand. Decided just to take 7, go to 21 from 25 here, right? Like, Easton surely coming in with, you know, some sort of attack here to try to even out, like, a little bit. Is using the Tunic to load this pistol, and then she's gonna have E-Strike here. See if he's gonna come in for 7. He does just come in for 7. So it is quite interesting, right? So he could have blocked 6 on that Lava Burst at the end, right? Taking 1, go to 27, and then just use Tunic to load the pistol and shoot for 2, right? And then so you're at 27 versus your opponent's 23. But then you're blocking a whole bunch. This E-Strike is going to present, you know, a significant, you know, 7. It's not like a significant amount of damage, but it is a, you know, it is quite a lot, right? Like, your opponent's at 25. Your opponent doesn't want to block ever unless his hand is like incredibly awkward. But even if your hand's incredibly awkward as Fi, like, you could just, you know, play a 2-3 card hand, you know, arsenal the last one and then set up for that 5 card hand that you want to do anyways. And it's not like this Fatigue Dash is going to go like, I mean, I think the best thing this Fatigue Dash for points of damage would be doing is like E-Strike with Go Again into like multiple, like into like another attack, like Pistol Go Again into another attack, right? Which is not a significant amount of damage for you, would be dying at like 25. So he's going to take the 7 here, going to 18. You know, Easton's trying to trade a lot of this damage through. Did miss the Tunic play to load this pistol the previous turn that I didn't talk about, but does it this turn, so he's gonna, Tunic would be at 1 if you did it the previous turn, but it's just in there. This is a lot faster than what you would traditionally expect for, you know, a control DAS matchup. Fi does have this double strike, you know, coming for 1 and then it's gonna come in for 2. Gets the perfect, basically 0 for 3 with the Shugo, but it makes the damage significantly more awkward because you don't really want to block for 1 ever. You do want to block for 2, but you could imagine that he goes pretty wide this turn, and it just comes in with a CNC at the end, right? He just attacks 1, 2, 6, and then there's an arsenal that last card, right? So this is the one thing with putting with the Fi list, putting a lot more generics in their deck. A lot of the times, sometimes you just don't have enough like draconic, like if you don't draw the draconic starters, you just have more of the draconic end line that you can't swing your Ember Blade, which is, you know, Ember Blade is very good. Also, we had that blind flip of the E-Strike earlier in the game, and, you know, if you know, the blind flip into the arsenal isn't that good, right? This is now the perfect opportunity for Easton to get that card out of his arsenal with the Providence that CNC is basically hitting on, right? So getting blocked for 5, you know, is going to take 1 here. Doesn't really care about too much of the damage that is coming in either. So just going to going to 17 as well, and got that card out of his arsenal. Maybe try to draw more of these defense reactions. I don't know if he's going to play Sigil in this matchup either, but try to go through that. He's doing a very good job of Easton is doing a good job of, like, see here, takes the 1, now he can gain the extra 1 with heart, right? And then he has 2 floating, can come in with like additional things on this turn as well. He's trading super efficiently here from Easton's side. Let's see what else he can do. So it comes in with 2. This pistol. Does it go again? Can reload both. Has additionally a lot 3 cards in hand, I believe, so we can. Okay, so it reloads the pistol, and then it's just gonna come in with a generic 5. The card does not actually have text because, well, it doesn't have additional text. It doesn't have any evos, so it's just gonna actually just be coming in for 5. So it's kind of funny. This is just like another, like, you know, it's an attack blue that you want to play in this more fatigue style deck. So Fly again takes a 5, goes to 11. So we got 11 to 18 here. There's another 5 card hand. If this hand's not awkward, this is like the point of time to where it could get a little sketchy for Easton playing the control deck. So it starts with the mounting gear. Not ideally pitches the assault, the wound for only 2 resources, right? Like, you really want to schedule like the blues for Fi to come in, because you want to come in with the 1 for 4, and then the Ember Blade, you know, costs a decent amount to swing every turn, right? Like, it is a, you know, it does cost 2 for 3 basically, and then, but you want to get the value off of to get the Phoenix Flame every single turn. So the blues really help you out to be able to swing Ember Blade and the Phoenix if you can't get like the 3 on the chain for 5 ability. So let's see if he has another Draconic chain link here. Comes in for 4. Has a Sink Blow as well, so that Sink Blow is pretty good here to block this, filter his hand. Sink Blow, one of the best defense reactions in the game, if not the best. I think Flick Flack personally is still, I think, the strongest defense reaction in the game, because it does block. It's a 0 for 6 basically. If you have, you know, your deck's going to be primarily combo cards if you're playing Flick Flack, right? So you're going to get the 6 value most of the time. But I wonder if you're going to get, but Sink, you get to filter, so could be also more value. Sink obviously generic, so he gets to play and everything, but fuck, a goated Katsu card, right? So blocks for 4 here. Doesn't have one of the ancestrals if he, I don't know if he's going to be playing it in this matchup as well, but then comes in for E-Strike here. I assume for just for 7 here, yeah. So kept a 4 card hand. His hand was pretty weak, you know. He took 7 damage to do this, and he's only presenting 11 back. Easton being able to block for 10 on this turn if he wants to double block this, right? Like, didn't really accomplish too much from the Fi side. Like, took a whole bunch of damage to deal 1 damage, and just passing his turn. Didn't even use that card in his arsenal too. Like, it's like had an awkward hand, so kind of had to, you know, take a whole bunch of damage to do it. Doesn't load anything before shooting with his pistols. It just comes in for 2. And then Easton's just gonna, did put the sigils in, and then just passes here. So wants that card in his arsenal. Doesn't want to, you know, load anything further. It could be just be another red card, right? Like another red attack, maybe like a War Machine or something like that. That he doesn't want to, you know. I think Arsenal War Machine is always going to be better than just like blocking with or loading one of the things, but is just no block for 2 and then gain 3, then give your opponent a 5 card hand. Although you don't know if this arsenal is going to be like anything important realistically, because of him not using the previous turn, but did have a little bit of awkward hand. So let's see if Fi's hand is awkward again, or if he can, you know, punish you know, just coming in for 2 from Easton here. Easton, again, 11 life ahead. But Fi does have the tempo from this turn, so coming and starting with a, you know, a 0 for 3, a Fi classic. Easton blocks for 3. Fi now gets to come in for Blaze Headline 0 for 4 with Go again. Doesn't have Art of War specifically for this turn either, because he would have played it on the first Chain Link. Oh, and Easton had another Sink Below, another defensive action from his arsenal to be able to block 4 on this one. Looks like he's not filtering, plugs his hand. Uses Tunic to use Fi ability to come in for 1. Okay, it looks like he has he's either doesn't have a blue in hand, or yeah, it looks like if he's using Tunic to use his Phoenix Flame ability, he doesn't have a blue in hand, because you would just swing the Ember Blade and then come in with your Phoenix Flame for free, basically. So it's probably looking at, you know, probably has a Lava Burst in hand. Assault would be like the weaker one of the finishers here, so Easton decides just to take 1. Oh, actually has that. That's all you got here. Does get to block it for free. See what else the Fi has on this turn. And it's just gonna be an E-Strike for 7, I believe. So not a bad 5-card hand, but it is a little awkward. 3, 4, 1, 7. Look at that at 15. This is one of those things. Last time Easton had 1, 2 cards in his hand and was Delta 7, he decided not to block and then come in with Pistol E-Strike, I believe it was, or just like a regular, or Pistol Magnetic, or was it like one of those two, and present a little bit back, but we'll have to maybe it was the E-Strike or all card one, maybe, but Easton, seeing if he deliberating which one he can do on the side. Does decide to take the 7 as well. Is going to draw the card from That's All You Got as well. So he's going to have that 3-card hand. But did take, you know, a significant amount to be able to do this, right? Fi, second turn in a row not being able to use this Arsenal card. Losing a decent amount of value, not being able to play it, right? Let's see what Easton has here. He's going to use that Tunic. Does get the second Tunic value here. And it's just another E-Strike here. Is he going for Go again or just for 7? Just another 7 here. So a lot of E-Strikes this game. This is the 3rd one from Easton. The 2nd one that the Fi player also played. Gotta use the 2nd value off that Tunic. The 2nd time being able to use that resource. Isn't it a primary Arsenal that last card? I wonder if Easton had the E-Strike before he drew that extra card with That's All You Got. Or did he drew it after, right? Like, doesn't have a blue current. Like, if he had a blue, he'd probably shoot pistol twice. Just naturally actually. Be able to block 3 and then shoot pistol multiple times. But this is 7, and your opponent's at 9, so... Okay, 5. Actually blocking on this one, so it looks like his hand's like not significantly that good. Just don't block for 4. Take 3 to go to 6. This is what like Easton's at 13, right? And to make this play, and you still have, you know, Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, which is like, you know, relatively 5-6 damage on average. So think about maybe Easton's at 8 if you can do enough damage through here. But looks like he blocked with a blue and then has another blue in hand, so not like the best option for him. The best option for 5 this turn would be if this comes in for 4, has like a 0 for 3, comes in with Ember Blade, has a finisher in his arsenal, and then can finisher a second time, would be like the best option. You need to be able to, you know, pressure significantly. Hasn't seen an Art of War in probably, you know, the top half of like 20 cards of his deck, which is, you know, not ideal for 5, right? Like, I've always thought 5 was if you draw an Art of War deck, you're probably winning. If you're not drawing Art of War, the game's like super awkward. Like you're just playing a, you know, fundamentally like fair deck versus, but when you draw Art of War, you get to go over those, you know, +4 or 5 on a chain, which is significantly good, right? Allowing you to get to that 20 breakpoint a lot of the time. Let's see what Easton does here, if he has a defense reaction for this Bittering Thorns or not. From being at 6 to 13, I think blocking with like a Tunic here wouldn't be that bad. So it has Ancestral, so it's gonna come in for 5. Easton's gonna block for 4. Has that other sync below. Still gonna take 1 though. And Bittering Thorns is gonna give the next thing +1. 5 significantly would have to be able to draw something that he can play. A 0 for 3 is probably the best option here because he can swing Everblade as well after. So was thinking about like the best line 5 can have here, right? Like if you go 0 for 3, you swing Emberblade. So if you 0 for 3 Emberblade, and then you have a Lava Burst. You snap the Lava Burst, Flame. You already popped Links in one of them, and then you do another Lava Burst or Salt on this turn would be like the best option. But I mean, you could always Links to get the Lava Burst and then Salt after if that's your arsenal, right? Or what the card you drew. But that'd be the most amount of damage. Ideally, Fi can't allow Easton just to play like an E-Strike type of card to come in for like 7 or 8, because then he would have to block like an additional 1. So the 1 does hit. Easton goes to 12. Fi's thinking on his Lynx trigger now. Okay, isn't a cash in this Lynx here, right? You're at 6. You might not have, you know, an additional turn. This is gonna make your opponent block. Gets the Lava Burst, right? Which is significantly good. Any 0 for 3 is the best case scenario here to allow you to efficiently Lava Burst for that Rupture every time. Ooh, this is not good. You should only have 1 resource because he had 2 floating, and then he's going to pitch the yellow. So he had 2 floating, and then Yeah, they got it sorted out. This is terrible. Like the draw a card from Ancestral. Being Art of War. This is the awkward time. Like, doesn't have a 0 for 3 either. This Art of War. Maybe you could arsenal it for the following turn, but if you're popping links to do this lava burst play, you like need to swing it. I wonder what this arsenal card is, right? It has to be something in this situation, right? Because you're playing you got the lava burst, right? So you surely can attack with the arsenal. Easton thinking Arsenal could be Assault, right? Like, that could be the reason why. It is Assault. Okay, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Easton, actually, that's a great read there from Easton, right? Like, it's a cheeky one from this Phoenix Flame here, but your opponent hasn't played his Arsenal multiple turns. Has been a good idea. Assault on any of these turns probably wouldn't have been, like, the most, you know, the best option for either of them. So... yeah, it should have been for 4 because of +1 off the Shuko, +1 off the Bittering Thorns. Oh, Bittering Thorns hit, so Assault gets +1, and then the Shuko, so it should be for 4 here. They went a little bit too fast. Let's see if Easton decides to do something else. The Lava Burst is going to come in for 5 at the end of this, right? So it's going to be 4 then 5. It's not going to kill Easton, but it's going to do a significant amount of damage. Wow, the block from the legs play from Easton here is potentially... It's not like game winning, but it's just like a significant like amount. Like, it's 1 damage from the Phoenix Flame, but then it's 2 damage realistically because of the Salt, right? So he saves 2 damage from that from the block there, and then can, you know, relatively just probably take this 5 here, go to 6, and then like if he presents, you know, any, you know, large attack, or can block for 3 here, take 2, go to 9, shoot pistol twice, bring your opponent down to like relatively like 2, or maybe your opponent blocks 1 of them. Easton asking a question here, debating, asking a question to the judge. He does have a defense reaction in hand, so could defense reaction take 1? Looks like probably like the play. You have a Tunic, right? So you can use the Tunic to block a Breakpoint the following turn, if needed. So yeah, using the defense reaction here, you don't need to arsenal it. It's going to cover 4 to the 5 damage. It's going to opt that card to the bottom. A lot of these cards are kind of redundant in this deck, but still something significantly good. Alright, let's see. That was the first Art of War, right? So he's gone through probably like 30 some cards of Fi's deck, right? Like, he's only used 1 Art of War. It's pretty good. Hold the line. Opponent didn't draw extra cards, so it's not like hold the line or just blocked more than 2 there. So, and he pitched also pitched the Art of War, so it's like, you know, doesn't matter significantly. So goes in for 2 with pistol, has 2 floating. I think the best case scenario here is if he goes pistol and then 6, right? So it gives us this Shuko instantly. Oh yeah, so 2-6 here. That's the best play you could do. Gives us the Shuko instantly. I don't know if I were to give a Shuko like right here. Like, obviously, like if your hand can't support like doing the 2, like getting Shuko value here, it's like not that bad. But this is, I don't think giving the Shuko immediately was the best option, because you can just take 2 to go to 4, and then Easton is forced to play a 2 cost, right? Like, imagine if he just has like a 5, right? No break sense. Then you can block with the Shuko, or decide to block with the card from hand and then keep the Shuko. But a little weird on the Shuko walk, but still lives. That's all he needs. But has 3 and then 3 here. So there's a blue pitch here. It's just like 10 damage here. and then he's at 3. Basically, if Easton, you know, blocks for 3, takes 1 off the Phoenix Flame, goes to 9, keeps it blue, double pistol shots. Fi has to. Oh, it doesn't even have that. So it has Snatch, which is basically the same thing as 3-1, but it's on 1 card. But you can say get that tunic value here, like we said. You know, doesn't need the defense reaction because it has that tunic. Now, you know, Easton gets to keep that blue pitch. Boom, pistol, right? Like, pistol. You can take the first pistol, go to 1. Then he's going to induction, shoot it again. You get to block with 1 card. You have 3. It's kind of funny because this is like one of the games to where both sides don't have any equipment at the end of the game because everything is blade break or like used. So, yep. Pistol for 2 takes it, goes to 1. You know, it's just gonna load it the last time. Shoot for 2 again. Blocks with any card. Now he has to block 2 cards every time he pistols, right? So you can just block for 9. Pistol. And your opponent has a 2-card hand. The best thing your opponent can do with a 2-card hand is just come in for like 0 for 3, swing Ember Blade, and then swing Phoenix Flame for 7, so 2-card 7, basically. So let's see, comes in with a 3. This is the last probably 3-card hand Fi is going to get for the rest of the game, right? Doesn't have Art of War on this turn either, because in a 3-card hand you would just play Art of War first. Counting the amount of snatches, he has 2 snatches pulled up on his opponent's graveyard here, so no blocks. Has an Ancestral, right? Brings up to 4. If Easton has defense reaction, super good for him. Does not. It just takes the 4, goes to 6. Has a lot of life to play with. You know, comes in at 3. Does have the blue pitch here. Easton blocks this for 3. He just needs the 5 ability. Best situation is he has a finisher here, right? Comes in for 1, comes in for 5. With Lava Burst. Lava Burst is the best finisher in this situation because you're only hitting twice. Yep. Ooh, even has it. Like, this is the best. This is the best situation for 5 for that end of the game, right? Because it's the only chance you really have. But you know, Easton ideally does have the 3 cards in his hand. Could double block this. Start the pistol train. Now your opponent, you know, goes to takes 2 cards out of his hand every single rest of the game, right? And now this is the situation to where randomly one side could get fatigued or not get fatigued, right? Easton double blocks this, uses the blue pitch, pistols twice. He's going to take 2 cards out of the Fi's hand. Fi's ideally for the rest of the game, if he has a 0 for 3 into Ember Blade for the 1. Easton still block with 2 cards, take 2 cards in his hand basically, and then now we're going to go vice versa pretty much every single turn. The problem is that Easton can take 1 randomly. Oh, and he's actually looking like he's only going to block 3 here, take 2, go to 3. Has a 2-card hand, so he's going to keep more than just the double pistol here, right? Double loads, shoots the pistol. Last card in his hand can't be defense reaction, or you would have used the defense reaction on the 4 that came in after the Ancestral. This is, you know, 50 Dash is probably the worst matchup in the game. Unfortunate for Easton, but he's played it significantly well. is putting himself in the position to win the game. You know, Fi hasn't seen an auto ward that he's able to, you know, attack with, right? Had a pitch for the last one, so just does double pistol here. Doesn't block with the last card in his hand, so he can arsenal it. Boom. Okay, Fi does have the 0 for 3. So best Fi hands for the rest of the game is 0 for 3 blue pitch. Oh, so drew another auto ward. So he can't even Phoenix Flame here. So it's gonna be 3 and 3. Easton's gonna have a 2-card hand plus the card in his arsenal. Ooh, and then just has a 7 breakpoint too. This is 3 cards. This is minimum 3 cards. Double, like, has a 3 block and then double 2 block, right? So this is 3 cards out of his opponent's hand. Then your opponent only has a 1-card hand. Best 1-card hand is like a snatch. Oh, but has to use a 4-card block on this. Terrible, terrible. That is not game entirely. This game's gonna go. Thing with Easton's deck is it does not kill people in a timely manner, or can't actually close out games, you know, very efficiently, right? He's especially because he only has, you know, 1 induction because he's playing against an aggro deck, right? So we're gonna slowly kill your opponent with 3 pistol and then like random attack that costs a lot, right? So coming with the pistol. This is the little doomed, but perfectly fine here. Oh, has to auto ward here because has an block. So that ideally is the 3rd auto ward that we've seen, right? Like he's pitched the other 2. This is the 3rd one. And the blocks here. Reloads this pistol. Double blue pitch, and I'm coming for that war machine just for 6, right? So if the last 2 cards from Fi are 2 block attacks, you know, can block over, does block over, but you know, has a quad block basically. This hand as well. Fi's deck, you know, getting pretty slim here. This is what Fatigue Dash really does, is being able to. This endgame scenario is always better for Dash, right? Has that extra card in his arsenal, so anytime in the game he could. If he's keeping track of his pitch, like he's just kind of waiting. If he has a boost card ever, just kind of either just gonna risk hitting the the mech card on top, or if he knows when the mech card is coming back up, he can always boost double attack to end the game here. But his opponent's basically just having to block for the rest of this game. There's nothing else that his opponent can do. Sometimes he can like swing an attack, but it's not going to do too much, you know. Slowly it's going to be, you know, take cards. Blocks are 2, gives him the thing. Has the blue pitch to load pistol. Then okay, has CNC. Does Easton have 2 cards left in his hand? He does have 2 cards left in his hand, so one could be Sigil just to gain 3 to go back to 6 instead of loading this induction chamber, but it does give off the it goes back to 6 instead of loading the induction chamber, and then Arsenal is anything that's going to be the last card. Spawn only has 1 card in his hand. If it's a blue pitch, just comes in with Ember Blade. We're starting to get down to, you know, just the remnants of the deck, right? So Brand just 0 for 3. Easton can just block this for 3, easy. Easton should be at 6 because he gained the life off sigils as well, so can take it, but there's no need to. Yep, the update select was the 6. His opponent passes, draws his 4. Now Easton's waiting for that Ardor to come back, right? Like that Ardor, those 2 Ardors he pitched earlier, can't block with those, so he has to, you know, use Ardor and, you know, banish cards, draw an extra, you know, pitching extra cards as well. So it's gonna take even more cards out of his opponent's deck every single time. So gives it go again, brings the pistol back, loads pistol. Oh, tries to come in with the throttle, but unfortunately hits a generic off the top. So it just comes in for 4. It's still a 2-card block here, right? Like, it's going to take 3 cards from his opponent's hand. Fi is back at 1. You know. Has that card in his arsenal. Might be another throttle or just like another 2-cost attack. I know he pitched another throttle earlier in the game. So it has a concealed blade here. So it's coming in for 3. As well. So the Ember Blade. Blocks for 3. Okay, that's the... Oh, and we're back to the heart cycle here. Comes in for 2. Yeah, and Fi did a pretty good job of trying to, you know, stay in this game this entire time. Had a like basically non-block to use his lights as a resource, so you could keep those 5-card hands or get to those 5-card hands. Did had a little bit of some awkward hands in the mid game. Had that 4 or 5-card hand that, you know, only presented like 11, which is pretty bad from the Fi side. Now he's in full block loop from. Or 3 out of 4 cards from his dash opponent here that just gets to have a 3-4 card hand every single turn. Gets to pistol loop him. Always will have more cards at the end of the game because he's pitching more cards to play his cards. So. Yeah, the size of Easton's deck versus the size of this Fi's deck is significant. Game will go on for a decent amount of time because you're not going to concede in you know, World's top 8, so an asteroid could always strike. You just gotta play to your outs, you know. Easton obviously is trying to set up another boost card from the top to get that cheeky 1 point of damage through. So it comes in with the 2. Opponent blocks. Easton double loads. Going for the throttle play does hit the Mechanologist card. It's coming in for 4. Okay, this is where the Art of War was. So pitches the Art of War, banishes, draws 2. He needs to hit a 3 block here. 3 block attack to block for 4. Second Art of War, unfortunately, draws the last 2 cards of his deck. Is going to block for 4. So coming for 6, can only block for 3. And Easton gets it. Playing versus like one of his worst, basically his worst matchup in the game, because Fi is like can't actually get fatigued that easily. But unfortunately, Fi doesn't see any of his Art of War, doesn't get to play any of his Art of Wars offensively. Played, you know, all 3 of them eventually defensively in this game. And pitched them, so a little unfortunate from Fi's side, but Easton played this game basically flawlessly from his side. Besides, you know, missing one of the tunics, but that's, you know, very, very marginal. It doesn't matter, and you know, very impressive from Easton. Be able to obviously play this more defensive style of this dash deck against his worst matchup in quarters, and you know, take it out. So this will be the breakdown of this quarterfinals game. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.